Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. This is the 2022 Louis Erard Alain Silberstein Le Regulateur. It is a timepiece inspired by the Regulator of 2019. That was a watch that helped to break the mold and put Louis Erard, a fairly obscure brand, on the radar of mainstream watch collectors, partly due to the partnership with the lately rediscovered architect and watch designer Alain Silberstein of France. So this watch is part of the second series of Silberstein regulators. It's part of the Diptyque collection, but while several, 28, were actually reserved for a set, 150 of the 178 of these made were delivered solo, and this is one of the solo deliveries. This is one of the 150. So the timepiece is identical to the Diptyque set model. It just doesn't have a companion watch with it. In titanium grade 2, it's 40 millimeters in diameter. It's 12.1 millimeters thick, and from lug tip to lug tip, it's 47 millimeters with a 22 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now, the watch has a little Velcro strap that you use to fix the regulator to your wrist. Taking a quick look, you can see that it actually fixes relatively easily. You simply pull the strap, the Velcro takes hold. Now the watch fits easily on my 16 centimeter circumference wrist. Taking a quick look, it's not as thick as you might think. It has a relatively sheer, almost cylindrical profile, but being so thin at only 12.1 millimeters thick, it's only as thick as a Rolex Daytona, so it will slide underneath the cuff. Now, while the absolute span from strap end to strap end across the wrist is pretty broad, the actual lug-to-lug dimension here is 47 millimeters, so you're going to find that it fits pretty well, and it fits quite nicely. This is a timepiece that is impressively water-resistant at 100 meters, automatic winding and titanium, so while it might not immediately register as a sports watch, it absolutely is a sports watch. I could recommend it for a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference. Pop it open to the strap, it's easy to undo, easy to size, and the great thing about Velcro is if you have a weird size wrist that's always in between sizes on a bracelet, or even the perforations in a strap, here you have almost limitless adjustability. The strap is quite nicely made with a regular stitch down the center in gray. You can see that there are little side-to-side striations. Then we have a silver border. We have plenty of black Velcro, brand new, no dust, no debris. We have lugs that actually have two components. There's a little loop at one end, and then there's the pivot that's attached to the lugs that act almost as brackets flanking the case. The case itself is grade 2 titanium, and it's all media blasted along with these little brackets on each end. We have a combination of a sort of monoblock case flank and bezel. As you can see, there's no visible seam where the case separates from the bezel top side, so they all appear as one. We have a little conical crown with the Louis Erard logo on it, and then we have a dial that is inspired by a number of different movements, but when I look at this dial, I think primarily de style. I know Bauhaus is often thrown around, but Bauhaus was often extremely sober and almost driven by an engineering ethic, where de style was focused on primary colors and fundamental shapes, and that's more what I'm sensing here. We do have those primary colors. We have a couple of very fundamental shapes, including straight lines, triangles, and arrow indices. The watch includes plenty of character, no shortage of that, as Alain Silberstein can rightly be credited as the first watch designer to introduce postmodernism into the world of luxury watches. While de style and Bauhaus were both modernism in the early 20th century, postmodernism is often considered to be a wink and a nod, sort of humorous reference to modernism, something that is deliberately ironic and self-effacing, and this definitely has a postmodernist feel to it. Technically speaking, it's a relatively simple thing to understand, as there's a Sellita SW200. The modified version of the SW200 that features the regulator module is called the Sellita 266-1. Now, the fundamental architecture of an SW200 is that of an ETA 2824. So that's what we have right here with the addition of the regulator module. Now, when I pull the crown out, you can see the seconds hand stops. It does have a hacking seconds function. It's called a regulator because we have a separate display for the hours, minutes, and seconds. Many mother clocks and reference watches in watchmaking studios were used to regulate watches being worked on or clocks being worked on. Hence, this display that makes hours, minutes, and seconds readily apparent has often been described as a regulator style. Now, the movement is fairly basic, but rugged and reliable. Bidirectional automatic winding, 38-hour power reserve, 4 Hz beat rate. It has the regulator module. It has the stop seconds. You can see the twin reversing wheels of the bidirectional winding system right underneath the rotor. And it pivots on 31 joules. It is in a titanium case. You can see the collaboration, and the watch is one of 178 made. Remember, 28 of those were reserved for sets, and then 150 of them were standalones like this one. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.